Well, the year 2021 can be classified as a good, bad, and ugly year for the hospitality industry. Thankfully for the industry, bad has not become worse. But it's been a year of introspection, it's been a year of learning, it's been a year when at the beginning of the year it was slow, but now looks like we are in for a great finish. So it gives me great pleasure to connect with Mr. Chhatwal. He manages, needs no introduction, Indian Hotels, India's largest hospitality chain. So it's been a good, bad and ugly. It started with a year where things were looking tough, but as we unwind the year, things are looking up.
Yeah, well said actually, and thank you for having me. I would call it was ugly, bad, okay, good, and hopefully finishing at a very good.
Okay. Do you think the very good will move from 2021 to 2022 where we will only say that it's now very good for the industry?
Eventually the industry is very resilient, and I am not only confident, I am absolutely bullish that the industry will bounce back much stronger. And the reason is that the demand will come back. There's a lot of pent-up demand. There's a lot of people wanting to travel, and the supply will stay constrained. So that balance is very healthy for the growth of revenues, for the growth of existing hotels portfolio. So all in all, I would say not just confident, I'm bullish that as of next financial year, we will start seeing positive results. But there is that one if which all of us don't know, the third wave, the fourth wave, what kind of impact those brings with them. But generally, the sentiment is very positive on the domestic front.
Just to understand the current environment, we are using this word revenge travel a lot. Are you feeling that sugar rush in your business as well?
Not really. I just think that the word revenge is wrong. I think travel is fun. Travel is entertaining, travel is relaxing, travel helps you to rejuvenate, energize yourself. So I think there is this fundamental need to see and to be seen, to relax your mind and body, to meet people, to build up relationships, to do business that is done in person cannot always be done on a Zoom call. So I think all in all, how many months, how many years are people going to sit at home and try to do business? So I think you have to eventually get out and get a job done. And yes, a lot can be done in a hybrid format, a lot can be done to bridge the gap in a digital format, but eventually nothing replaces the personal relationship, the personal ask, like you and I are also doing as we speak right now.
Okay, so let's understand the business.
And wonderful meeting you in person after 2 years.
I know, it's been a while and I've just missed meeting people. You're absolutely right. There's something which, the warmth of meeting of people, the osmosis of working with your team, that's incredible.
Absolutely.
So let's understand the dynamics now. First, the main business for Indian hotels, which is the corporate travel. How much of that business has normalized to pre-COVID?
Actually, we are very blessed because of our portfolio mix. We have almost 45% of our portfolio can also be classified for leisure destinations, right? So we have almost 20 outlets in Goa. We have several outlets in Kerala. Now, when I say 20, I'm including the homestays also. But even as number of hotels, we are the largest player. So the domestic leisure is very, very strong. And the need for people to go out on holidays and now Christmas and New Year is also very strong.
Is this the strongest Christmas season you've seen in a while?
Yes, I would say so. When it comes for certain locations, which is really leisure driven, then yes, it is one of the strongest that we have seen so far.
When we spoke last, you did indicate that about 75 to 80% of the main city business has come back to pre-COVID.
Yes, so coming back to your previous question on the corporate and business, yes, 65 to 70% for us has come back. I think it all depends on which brands you have and what is your brand recall and ability to attract clients and attract business. So we've done well in capturing market share. Most of our hotels are what we call technically the revenue growth index is at a very premium level. It has actually increased in the COVID times also. So if that 65 to 70, and this is what I told you the last time we spoke, moves to 85, and even if the leisure would come down a bit, we would be at the pre-COVID level. But that only makes us good. We'll be very good and moving on to great times when we cross that 1920 number with 10 to 20% increase on the top line.
For the consolidated picture to become very good or even great, the international business has to kick in. And just when we thought things were looking up, you got this virus scare again.
Yeah.
Have you lost any business in UK, US?
Yes, we have lost business. There's a lot of cancellations in the UK, and it's not really because of the virus. I think the safety protocols that come with it, that makes it a bit more challenging to travel. I am going to visit my family for Christmas. I'm gone only for 5 days, but when I come back, I have to quarantine for 7 days. So it's 2 days of travel to go and to come, 7 days of quarantine, and only 5 days of actual meeting. So I think that's a big challenge. And unless you have to go, you're not doing it. That's number one. Number two is there is a restriction on business travel needs. And the reason is, in the short term, what we will see is that if you travel to, let's say, London or to US, you would try to finish whatever you want to do in other cities on the same trip. So if in a year you were doing previously 3-4 trips to US or to UK, and each trip had 3 nights, so the total was 12 nights in a year, maybe you'll do one trip with 8 or 9 nights at a stretch. So I think in the short term, that's what we'll see. What will definitely not happen is that there will be no business travel happening. So I'm very, very cautious about the fact that yes, there is a drop in the business travel, and we are seeing that. We have all seen it. We have all flown in empty planes also internationally, which are now getting full. Now people are complaining about the increase in the price of the tickets, right? So that is there, but all these are like short-term volatility. And eventually, I think with the protocols, with different countries and different cycle of this COVID wave, will constrain business travel, but the travel overnight spent in hotels would be longer.
So you did mention last time that look, your international operations, you were not losing money, which means a hole gets filled up.
Yeah.
So now, because of the challenges which have come in, is it back to square one, or it's not that as bad as first wave?
No, definitely not as bad as the first wave meant a lockdown, complete lockdown. In the second wave, we had lockdown on the domestic front. We are, 10 days short of finishing Q3. But I think Q3 should be a good quarter for the hospitality sector in general, but also for Indian hotels. Of course, we are not seeing, as I said, 100% of the level, but even if we get to 80-85% of pre-COVID, then it's a very good finish. Whether you talk about enterprise level or at consolidated level, with a marginally lower figure would also be a good finish than anyone expected 6 months ago. If somebody had said 6 months ago you'll be at 80-85% of pre-COVID, then nobody would have accepted that. So I think the recovery as of September has been very positive, and a month on month we are seeing growth of 20-25% over the previous months. So I think it's been a good, strong recovery.
But ultimately, the hotel business has two parts. One is top line, and second is operating leverage. At what point in time operating leverage, which is pricing power or ARR, comes back to you?
Well, in most of our properties, the ARR is already back.
Which is back to pre-COVID.
It's back to pre-COVID. And when we look at Q3, what is different is that leisure is doing far better than pre-COVID on average rate. Corporate is still lagging behind. So when you do the mix of the two, you're getting quite close to
About
the
marriage, banquets.
That's the challenge. The challenge is the restrictions in the number of people for weddings. The challenge has been opening hours in many places. Restaurants were only open till 4. Let's say in the city of Mumbai, then they were open till 9, and it has been a restricted opening, and maybe rightly so, because the safety of not only our customers but all our stakeholders is of prime importance. Having said that, I think the restaurants are beginning to show 100% of pre-COVID level revenue. It is where we are lagging behind is the banqueting in those large weddings of 500,
How much is
1,000
that as
people.
percentage of revenue?
That's a big percentage of revenue in India for upper upscale and luxury segment. So you can easily say between 20 to 25% of the top line comes from meetings, incentives, conferences, and weddings.
So just to understand the very basic dynamics, and by the way, this is a lovely Christmas setting. I always get this iconic feeling. I come here as a child. I've been to this floor. Got very happy family memories. My sister got engaged in one of the restaurants here. So this is where I guess it's historic every time we walk on these corridors.
Yeah, very well said. Actually, this is not a hotel. I think it's a national monument, if not a global monument. And it is registered also internationally as a monument. So I think
there's this myth as a child I used to read that Taj ulta bana hai. Is it true?
I think the Taj bana tha, or when it was conceived, the gateway of India was not there. So once it came, some changes had to be made. But Taj kabhi ulta nahi bana. Taj seedha hi hota hai, aur Taj is always at the right place. I think as a brand, it's not only a pride of Tata Group, it's a pride of the nation. And as you know, it was voted as the strongest hotel brand in the world. First brand coming from India to have made it to that kind of accolade is a reason for all of us to be proud.
Yeah, it's indeed. It's like one of the Rise with India moments that an Indian hospitality company can command this kind of respect, love, and affection. So why are hotel stocks by markets considered as infrastructure stocks? If I come to Taj, I come for the service, I come for the quality, I come for the experience, and that's what you get with a brand. But hotel stocks globally trade at P multiples like the infra company.
Right. So traditionally, hotel business was very owner and operator. You were having both the entities in one company. What has happened is over the years, we have also moved into that asset light model of servicing our owners through management contracts. So we don't necessarily own anymore the new hotels that are being built. So if you look at the past,
but that's large part of EBITDA, sir. 4,500 rooms which you own account for 80% of your EBITDA. So that's correct. The meaty part, isn't it?
Yes and no, because going forward, I think we have to take care of our iconic assets like this one. Of course, they will remain always very special, but the change in the business model will come, the growth will come mainly through the management contracts, and the management contracts contribution to EBITDA is very strong because the flow through is strong. So a hotel like this would do what? Contribution to bottom line would be 15-20%, whereas each management contract could contribute up to 60%. So our corporate overhead based on cost per hotel will continue to go down as it does not need the similar kind of infrastructure to run, to asset manage, and to take care of the assets, including the P&L. So here we get the entire revenue in our consolidated and reported revenue. In the management contracts, it will only be the management fee income. And management fee income helps you in bad times and also helps you to make that switch from infra to also more brand, more customer, and high growth, because investing in every hotel, that is passé. It's a model for some, but not It's definitely not a model for our brandscape the way we have it defined in our strategy today.
You know, I distinctly remember when you took charge of Indian Hotels, the balance sheet had a 4,000 crore debt approximately. The business was not going even to margins above 20%. There was a huge challenge. It was always considered to be an infra stroke a hotel company. Now you're defining it to be a leisure company. Sounds impossible, but you've achieved a lot.
Right. So, save for COVID, we did finish March of 2020 at 25% EBITDA, which was the 800 basis point increase which we had promised in April 2022, but we already achieved it in 2020. So that was positive. But then with the lockdowns, all this was, like kind of gone, was up in the air. But we are beginning to see quarter on quarter improvement. And I just think that we will, once the revenue comes back and is above the pre-COVID level, we would see EBITDA margins far superior than even 25%.
Now, three things have happened. The first most important thing, I'm looking at numbers from your presentation that you've saved on corporate cost. These are permanent changes according to you. Before these changes, you were able to achieve, let's say, 25% margin. Now these cost changes are permanent. So 25 is not a high watermark. 25 is the new normal whenever things normalize.
Absolutely right. Actually, you were able to formulate it much better than I did while answering. Yes, the 25 is the base of the new normal, if we would call it, from a P&L perspective. So I'm quite optimistic. This is not just for us. I think when we hoteliers sit down, all chains, national or international, as bad as COVID has been, and if we can strike off that 18 months from our lifetime, especially from the lifetime of the hospitality sector, it did give once in a lifetime opportunity to adjust our cost base, both at a fixed and at a variable level.
And you did this without sacking people, because I have not.
We have not taken out any permanent staff in any of our properties in India. Of course, internationally, because the business models are different, the social systems are different, and the furlough schemes were different. A lot of staff took advantage of it to also change
Different
professions
labor laws.
different labor laws. So within India, we did not do that.
You've incubated Amart Trails, if I'm getting the pronunciation right, Human. These are two businesses which have been incubated without any investment. All you're doing is that you use the technology of the Tata Group to connect and the goodwill of Taj to make it happen. Are these new businesses which will significantly add to your bottom line and top line in the next 3 years?
So I think a very good question. Bottom line, yes. Top line, not as much, because the hotel we are sitting in, for example, in good times, it has a revenue potential of 600 plus crores. So
in
that's
good times.
In good times. However, these businesses that we have added is capturing on latent demand, and they are based on incremental cost and incremental margin model. So we did not have any upfront cost. Everything was done in-house. So we used the resources in-house, whether it is intellectual capital or it was using existing kitchens or using existing chefs and the staff to do so. So I think the margins on these businesses are very high, and it is good to be in this space. It's an evolution of the brands. Cumin started 25th of June.
Whose idea was it? It struck you one of those flights to Germany?
Well, honestly, it was my boss's idea. So it was actually
That's on television, so you can't take credit for everything, right?
No,
always
I cannot.
easy,
No, actually,
always good to say.
We had a conversation in which he said, "You're doing all this wonderful service to the community, and you're using our flight kitchens to serve the migrant population and the frontline workers in all the Mumbai hospitals with the food. Could you not think of bringing the Taj restaurants food to people's homes?" So that was just a conversation. And we started thinking, and we just went ahead and executed.
I must like to endorse it that I've been enjoying the Cumin service, and it's very convenient. The app is beautifully designed, and it's good to see restaurants coming to your house rather than you going to the restaurant. in a COVID time?
We prefer the other way. We prefer that you come to the restaurants, and when you cannot come for one or the other reason, please use our app and order food at home. But do both. One should not exclude the other.
The turning point for Indian hotels was you started cutting the debt. So after the right issue, it's almost a net neutral company at a net level. What is the next turning point? I mean, is there anything incrementally which you would do? Because demand is a function of a lot of other factors. Some are beyond control, some are under our control. Operating leverage and debt reduction was in your control. So what is that you will do now, which will give another fillip to the business?
Scaling up our new businesses, scaling up some of our existing brands.
That's Ama Trail Chambers.
Ama, Chambers, Ginger, Cumin. We're already in 20 cities. We just added 15 quick service restaurants in Cumin, but you know, the next ambition or aspiration is 50 and then the 100. So I think scaling up in a financially prudent fashion is going to be the aspiration. Leveraging our group platforms, which we have access to.
They talk of a new super app which is
Super
coming.
app, for example, you know, we are one of the founding members, and I think we stand to benefit a lot from that. So I'm really looking forward.
Is that game changing for a business like Indian Hotels?
Absolutely, it is. You know, we have today a loyalty base which is very good, but if it becomes 20 times, 30 times larger overnight, with access to other databases, and if only 10% of that user group is your potential client, it increases your reach to at least 3 times more than what we have today. That's in the first year. And as time goes by, that reach keeps increasing without any incremental cost to us. So of course we are very excited and very eager to have this platform go live as soon as possible.
When you took over as the CEO of Indian Hotels, I think the stock was in double digit. Went to triple digit, hit an all-time high couple of days ago. It's come down, that's market. But do you feel happy that shareholders are recognizing what good work Puneet Chhatwal is doing?
No,
Ultimately,
I
it's
don't
about shareholders. How do they
correct.
feel happy?
No, you know, the shareholder is one of the most important stakeholder in the equation. But I think what the market is recognized definitely over the last 6 to 12 months is that we kept positivity in our company. We kept the business going, and the brand got a lot more traction because people felt safe and secure, and also our growth strategy.
The Indianness has come. You know, post-COVID, if you ask me, you know, that Indianness about Taj connection with India, I think that's been evident.
We prefer to call it that the Tajness was experienced at its level best in all our brands. It's a part of our culture, and we define Taj as trust, awareness, and joy. So the trust in the brand, the awareness about the brand, and the joy of being in one of our brands, I think scaled to a very different level, and we are hopefully able to take it to a higher level in the years to come.
The favorite question which everybody has on Christmas Eve before New Year is, boss, इस साल का New Year resolution क्या है? Which is a resolution this year you're making that you're hopeful you will not break next year? Because most resolutions are broken by 2nd of Jan. क्योंकि first की छुट्टी होती है तो वही first पे डूब जाते हैं.
It's on a professional level or a personal level?
Resolution does not have boundaries.
I'll keep it at the professional level on
बताइए,
this.
ताज की spirit है, New Year की spirit है.
So I think on a professional front, I think this next year we are going to try to persuade everybody possible to give us the benefit of both infrastructure status as well as consumer status. Because infrastructure, why? Because it will encourage development of hotels, which will create more jobs directly and indirectly, and it's long overdue, and there would be no better year to do it than at India at 75. And consumer, why? Because at the end of the day, we are the largest customer-facing industry, and so we have direct connection with the consumer. So I think we should get the benefit of that too. So we will do what we can, both in my capacity as the head of the National Council on Tourism with CII, as well as the presidency of the Hotel Association of India. And on a personal front, I'll try to increase my average sleep by 1 hour.
So nice to meet you, and on behalf from everybody from ET Now, thank you very much. I mean, last 18 months have been tough and rough. You know, from what looked like an impossible task to where we are sitting right now, it's just been magical. So you've really marshaled your troops, made your shareholders happy, and good wishes for the coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nikunj. Lovely to be with you. As I said earlier, be in person, and that is the best thing that gives us hope, gives us motivation, and gives us definitely the required spirit to keep driving our industry in general and our company forward in the right way. Thank you.